It is the morning of June 12th, I believe. I'm in the town of Leapway, Idaho. And Leapway was significant to the Nez Perce because it was in Leapway. It was Fort Leapway at the time. It wasn't a stockade fort. It was just guarded by sentries. And right now there's no... I've asked locals if there's anything left of the fort, and nobody seems to know anything about it. But it was in Leapway that General Howard gathered with all of the chiefs from the Nez Perce, Chief Joseph, Chief Lutsut, which I'm saying wrong, and I think there was about 9 of them, 9 of the chiefs. And basically, General Howard laid down the ultimatum that they had to honor the Treaty of 1863, which shrunk the boundaries of the Nez Perce Indian Reservation by 90%. Old Chief Joseph, who had signed the 1855 treaty, so we're talking 8 years. In 8 years, the 1855 treaty had a very large boundary line, and then gold was found in Pierce, and so there's a large gold rush going on, and the United States government wanted to shrink the boundaries of the Nez Perce reservation, and so they enacted the Treaty of 1863. It took until 1877 for it to be ratified, and everything basically came to the point where, okay, now the tribes had to adhere to the new treaty, which was 90% smaller than the 1855 treaty. Old Chief Joseph, who had converted to Christianity with the missionary named Spalding, he tore up his Bible and renounced his Christianity, and he, along with about 5 other chiefs, did not want to sign the treaty. They didn't sign the treaty. Only one of the chiefs signed the treaty, Chief Lawyer, and that's almost understandable because his whole domain was within the 90%. And the entire domain of the Wallowa tribe was cut off from the new treaty, as well as many of the other chiefs' land areas. So it was kind of here that precipitated the whole flight of the Nez Perce. And this was in early May, and essentially General Howard laid down the law, so to speak, that the tribes had to gather their horses, go to their original lands, gather their horses and everything, and come onto the reservation. And that's when Chief Joseph went to Wallowas, and that's why they had to cross the Snake River in May. I was wondering, why would they do it in May when it's full flow of spring? And it was because they had to adhere to this new law. So they all gathered, or they all went off to their separate domains, and then got their tribes together and came onto the reservation, and they met at Tolo Lake to try to decide then what to do and how to deal with this new treaty that they did not agree to. So the 9 non-treaty tribes all gathered together to try to assess the best way to go, and I'll be dealing with that in the future. About 5 miles south of Leapway on Highway 95, there's a turnoff here that talks about William Craig, and he was the first permanent white settler in Idaho. First Nez Perce Indian agent, 1848. Interpreter at Walla Walla, Flathead, and Blackfoot Councils, 1855. That was an important council. Lieutenant Colonel, Washington Territory Volunteers, Indian Wars, 1856. First postmaster of Walla Walla, 1858. This was the first homestead in Idaho. Here the family of the Reverend Henry Harmon Spalding was sheltered following the Whitman Massacre. Wow. And he came here in 1830. Let's see, he was a fur trader. Came in 1829. Married a Nez Perce woman, and her name was Isabel. In 1838, and as part of the Oregon Donation Land Act, he was the only person in Idaho eligible for the take part of the Land Act, where he was able to get 640 acres of free land. Not a bad deal. But he sounds like he's a very instrumental person in the early years. I mean, when you think of how important it was to have interpreters, and so he fulfilled that important role. So, this was his land. Beautiful section of land here in the Lepui Valley.